Welcome to the channel, folks. And today we're talking about the importance of consolidating multiple 401ks if you have old 401ks into something that's called fixed index annuities. So I'm going to break this down so you guys understand a little bit of everything. But I tell folks it's another way, another strategy on how to move, especially if you have old 401ks. Think about this. By the age of 40, most people have had at least 11 jobs. One out of every 13 people have unclaimed funds or lost funds, stuff they have no idea about. Just sat down with a client, they weren't even aware that when they just started the job, they were just signing paperwork, was enrolled in their 401k. So a lot of times people have old 401ks that are sitting in limbo. They don't know what to do. Well, a fixed index annuity is a great strategy where you could continue to have growth just like 401k, just have a plan that has supplemental income. And the best thing of it all is that grows tax deferred. And depending how your money goes into your annuities, you can have tax free growth. But before we get started, make sure you guys like, follow, and subscribe. And let me break down a little bit so you know exactly what is a fixed index annuity. So a fixed index annuity, it is a insurance kind of product. It's insurance structured. So it has participation since it's an index account. It's not in the market, it's participating and reflecting what the market does. So if the market goes up 18, 19%, you could participate and get a certain amount. But understand they have floors and they have caps. Generally speaking, the floor is zero. Zero is your hero. The market goes down 20%, you're locked in at 0%. But you may have a cap of, let's say, 8, 9%. So if the market does 25% this year, you only get that 8%. So you have to understand that it can be used. You may not get all the gains, but the great thing about annuities is you have protection. You don't lose any money. It gives you market protection. Okay, MCP, we call that market correction protection, meaning when the market goes down, you're locked in. So it's a great strategy. But let's talk about your 401ks. What's going on with your 401ks? Well, the first thing I always say is if you have multiple 401ks, review them. See what's going on. See if it's in limbo. See if that's still getting any kind of growth over there, or is it just sitting there? Do you have a current 401k? Did you just move? Are you looking to do something? You want to see what those are. Check whatever fees that you have, all the expenses, even if you have an old 401k sitting there. A lot of folks don't understand. You have fiduciary fees, you have all kind of fees that could be 1 to 3% depending on what you have. Why is that important? It doesn't sound like much, a 1% fee here, 1.5% fee there, but that could actually cost you about 1/3 of your 401k over a 20, 30-year lifespan. 3% and it's averaging 6, 7%, guess what? That could be a huge thing. So you got to understand all those things, the potential that you could have if you move it somewhere else instead of just sitting it there. Figure out if you have old beneficiaries, streamline how that works. Figure out just all the basics, compile all the information from all your 401ks. Okay. Then the next thing you want to do is how do you plan on rolling it over? All right. You want to have steps. If you're looking to get into annuities, understand that there are steps to be able to roll a 401k into your annuity, which first and foremost starts with the company. Looking for A rated companies. You got to have a reputable fixed index annuity company first and foremost. I always tell people that is huge. Okay. The second thing is, here's where a lot of people mess up, is you want to initiate a direct transfer. If you could go from your old 401k directly into the annuity, that is phenomenal. Reason why, because you can have it come to yourself, but then that'll be an indirect, and now you could have maybe different fees, withdrawals. But the big problem is if you get a check from your old 401k that comes to you, you have a time frame, which could be, depending on the company, anywhere from 30 to 60 days. If you don't move that money into your new strategy, I don't care if it's annuities, IRAs, whatever it is, if you keep it in there for over 60 days, that check that you got for yourself, guess what? Now that's considered income for the next year, and you could get penalized on that. So you want to make sure you understand what that is. And then also you need to know the tax codes, tax implications, if it's qualified or non-qualified. And what that means when you roll a 401k into an annuity, is it qualified to be taxed up front, or is it non-qualified to be taxed up front? which means either you're qualified to pay taxes, like it's a traditional 401k, or if you're not qualified, if it's a Roth 401k. Non-qualified means the money's already been taxed. They can't actually tax you again on that principal money that you have. So figure out what it is, figure out what are the tax implications, find out if you have one at your current job, if you can even move that. There's something called a in-service distribution. If you're still working there, generally if you're over 55 years old, where you can actually start touching your 401ks while you're still working there. If not, you can't really do some of these strategies. Now, you need to pick the right fixed index annuity product. Why? Because you have fixed annuities, you have index annuities, you have variables. So you want to make sure you have the right one. If you're using fixed index annuities, figure out what the cap rates are, what the participation rates may be. So some companies may have 140% participation rate, meaning if the market does 10, you get 14 because you're getting 140% of the market. You want to make sure if there's different kind of riders, if you have income riders, figure out what that is. Figure out the surrender charges. Some companies may have a 14, 15, 18% surrender charge fee if you want to cancel. So you need to know how all these work. Pick the time. Is it a 5-year, 7-year, 10-year, 14-year? Make sure you get the right annuity first before you think about moving your 401ks and all those into your kind of annuities. Now, I always say this, you want to assess, all right, whether the fixed index annuity is going to be something where you're getting immediate income day one, or do you want to have it for growth? Meaning, hey, I want immediate income, turn on the income rider day one, or look, I don't need the money right now. Let's wait for 10 years down the road where I may need a trigger and start using that money. I want more of a growth product. Because there's certain annuities that have, you could have a standard rate where it could give you 4 or 5%. You could have some that could give you a little bit more. So you want to make sure you're picking all these things. But in conclusion, I tell people, if you have multiple 401ks, figure out what's going on. Figure out how you could condense and move them all together. Annuities are a great product because it's designed to be just like a 401k in a sense. When I say just like 401ks in a sense, it's giving you what? A lifetime income. You could turn on a lifetime income rider inside your annuity and get lifetime income once you hit retirement. But primarily speaking, it's supposed to be a supplemental income. You're not here trying to get a whole retirement plan, where you're getting $10,000, $20,000 a month from your annuities. It's supplemental. Hey, I was making $8,000 a month when I was working. So guess what? I got $3,000 a month coming in from my annuities, $1,800 from Social Security. I got IRA paying me $2,000. You see what I'm saying? So you're putting all these supplemental incomes together to replace the income that you had when you were working. But like I said, a great way to be able to have old 401ks, put them in different kind of strategies where you can use annuities so you could keep having that growth. A lot of people have old 401ks, old jobs, sitting in limbo, not really working. That's where annuities could come in. So folks, if you want more information, make sure you follow the channel, like, comment, and subscribe, and definitely make sure that you keep following. I'm going to actually attach some of the cons because a lot of people, they don't want to talk about that. So I'm going to attach one of the videos so you know all the cons on annuities. So this is just telling you how to move 401ks into annuities. But if you don't know how annuities really work, you can find the pros. No one talks about the cons. Check that video out. I'll see you on the next one.